Night Watch has how many views?
I don't know why, but yeah, Night Watch has
2.3 million views.
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Today's guest is a professional stuntman and the head instructor of Balintawak, LA. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Mr. Bryan Sloyer. What's up, Sloy Sauce?
What's up? How are you? Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, thanks for coming by, dude. This is a really cool opportunity because not only is your episode going to come out this week, but we actually have the pleasure of hosting a workshop with you next Thursday at JAM.
Yep.
So what's the date on that exactly? That is
Thursday 26th, I believe.
Yeah, Thursday, September 26th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Yep, in the morning.
Heck so, yeah. And one of the cool things about this workshop that you're going to teach is that we're going to donate the money. And where is this one benefiting? I think we've worked with this charity before.
Yeah, so it's the same one we held last year. It's the same organization. It's actually the organization that owned the orphanage that I was from.
Okay.
So I was born in the Philippines. For those who don't know, born in the Philippines, raised in North Carolina.
Yes.
But I wasn't in the orphanage for very long. I think I was maybe two and a half when I came to the States.
Okay.
So, but yeah, this is kind of my way of paying things forward.
100%, man. And it's a great way too, because it's an exchange. People can come learn some knowledge and know that the money's going to benefit like a great cause.
Yeah, all around great trade, I think. So
totally, man. And honestly, no better segue to get into your personal story kind of than to like start with that, you know? Yeah. And I don't think, you know, a lot of people out there, like, you know, including people that go to JAM on a regular basis may know your story, which is somewhat unique. And there's lots of reasons why I wanted you on here. So let's just start with like the origin story before we even get to like the martial arts side.
Yeah, for sure.
And you kind of touched on it, right? So you're born in the Philippines.
Yeah, I was born in the Philippines. I actually don't know where. My guess is somewhere outside of Manila, because that was where the orphanage was. I guess my mom couldn't keep me. She kept me for, they say, 6 months to a year, but too poor to keep me. So she had her best friend put me on the doorstep in a basket with a letter. So the letter was kindly briefed whoever was going to read it. It's like, this is my son. Bryan is my Filipino name. I have an American name. But Bryan was given to me by her. And my parents always called me Bryan because they didn't want to take that name away from me. So, but yeah, so was there for a short time and ended up with my family now, and grew up in North Carolina, very far away. The cool thing about that, though, is the small city town that I grew up in is about an hour away from Charlotte, and that's where I met Grandmaster.
Yes.
And that's his headquarters.
And it just happened to be that you're, of all places, brought to that city with your new adopted family.
Exactly. So it's crazy to me that it was meant to be, in a sense, for me to find Balintawak. So, so growing up there, I grew up doing a lot of sports. Okay. Actually, Balintawak was my first martial art ever. And it's funny, too, because it was my dad that got me into it. And he's, white guy from New Jersey. And we would watch a lot of martial arts films together. That was kind of how we bonded. And I actually was watching Jet Li films first.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I didn't really know who Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan were until, I'd seen some Jet Li movies. And I was like, this can't be the only guy doing these type of films, right?
Exactly.
So I started going to Blockbuster back when we had Blockbuster. And started just like going down the aisles. And I was like, oh,
there's more Asians.
Yes, people like me, like doing stuff.
Yes.
Eventually found some Jackie Chan and Donnie Yen stuff and whatnot. But yeah, my dad was like, because he could tell I was getting tired of team sports. And I'd done stuff like soccer, lacrosse, and tennis, which I'm glad I did tennis because swinging a tennis racket totally translated to swinging a stick.
I can imagine, yeah.
So I'd already developed tennis elbow. So I was like,
you got the skills and the injuries already.
Because it helps. Like when you're hitting like such a small object like a tennis ball, you kind of learn with the racket where to apply that velocity on the whip.
And you learn how to actually target, because when you're just doing drills with a stick, you're going at empty air.
You're moving your feet, you're moving your body. It was pretty serendipitous how I ended up doing tennis, falling into Balintawak.
Crazy.
But my dad was like, I can tell you're getting tired of team sports. You don't want to do soccer. You don't want to continue tennis, really. Like, what are you interested in? I was like, maybe martial arts, like, because I like the movies. He was like, okay, what do you want to do? Kung Fu, karate, taekwondo? And I was like, no, it doesn't really, I don't know, interest me. And now I'm kind of regretting not. Because all my other friends can kick high and they're all flexible. And I can't do like the high kicks or the spinning stuff. But he offered like all that to me. And I was kind of like, I don't know. And he went out of his way to do a lot of research. And he discovered that my culture had a martial art. And it was known as Kali.
Yep.
And the way I guess he stumbled upon that was like the first Bourne film. It's like one of my like I remember that film.
Of course, and I know the guy behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my mentors.
Yeah,
Mr. Jeff Amata.
My girlfriend actually got to meet Jeff ahead of me. I was so mad in Boston.
Yeah, I flew her out on that movie.
Yeah. I was like, it's dope.
You should have seen Alvin. You should have seen Alvin Singh meeting him in person.
Oh yeah,
he nerded out so hard.
Hell yeah, I bet.
I was like, stop smiling, please work.
Oh, I would nerd out so hard. Yeah, because the Bourne films, they were so they made an impact.
Yes.
You know, not just in the action community, but as a movie. But I liked how those movements were sharp and efficient, and it was smart.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any knowledge. I didn't know how to look for it. You know, I don't know how my dad found it, but he was like, okay, it's called Kali and it's Filipino. What do you know? Would you be interested in doing Kali? I was like, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I want to be Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
So he started looking around in our town, and the guy actually that was giving me tennis lessons had a friend who was Filipino that did Balintawak.
No way.
Turned out to be Jeff, my instructor.
Wow.
So I started in with him, and my first year, hated it. It was so boring, and it was a movement I wasn't used to. And he was very strict about forms. Do the forms before we do anything. And for the first year, it was just stuff in the air, very boring. And with at least tennis, you know, you can go to a wall and hit the ball against the wall. You're interacting with something. But that, it was just in the air or looking at yourself in the mirror, and I was like, dude, it's not how I imagined it would be. You know? So I actually hated it the first year, but the following year, I can't remember what kicked my butt into like being more disciplined. It was probably Jeff yelling at me, but I turned 16. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make this the thing now, my hobby. And I'm glad I did. And after that, Jeff drove me up to Charlotte. And he was like, well, actually, Grandmaster's pretty close. I was like, Grandmaster, oh, okay. And he showed me some videos, and he would tell me the history of Balintawak, and it would just go in one ear, out the other.
Yeah, of course.
And then meeting him, I was like, whoa, this guy's so cool. He was very quiet. I think he was, like, excited that... Because at the time, like, I was 16, like I said, almost turning 17. And it was very rare that someone that young was training Balintawak.
Yeah, totally.
And now, though, there's this little kid, Trey, dude. He's completion of the art, and he's dope.
No way.
He's so young. I think he's maybe turning 13 or 14.
Wow, okay.
But when he first started, he was like 11, 10 or 11. So we've been watching him for a couple of years. He's really good. But yeah, so I was pretty young, and everyone's sort of like excited that Jeff had.
You're
like,
the new kid.
Yeah, there's this kid.
Totally.
You know, he's pretty good. He's
the
fast,
possible
man.
future.
Yeah. And I remember meeting Bobby, and at the time he smoked, so I remember walking up to him, and he's like, hit the cigarette. You know, it's like, oh, the kid's here. You know. But yeah, so Jeff started driving me up on weekends. Because Bobby had like Saturday classes, and Jeff was only free on the weekends because he had a family and a job and stuff. And so I'd make that drive up there and got to know Grandmaster a little bit.
That's wild, man. And so for those out there that aren't too familiar with this specific art, like we kind of referenced that it's similar to Kali in some ways, but what's like the easiest way to explain what Balintawak is and what its system stands for and what its principles are?
It's very reliant on learning reactions. So a lot of what we do is we teach you 12 basic strikes. Once we show you the strikes, we show you how to defend against each strike. Each strike more or less has at least one or two reactions.
Yeah.
But only one or two. Like we don't have like 10 combos off of angle one.
Okay.
Once you learn the individual reactions, at that point we start mixing the pattern of the feed. So we don't go in order of like, here's angle 1, angle 2, angle 3. We can go from angle 1 straight to 4, straight to 12.
And you just have to react to each one that's fed at you.
And you just react immediately. And that's what you sort of see on like my Instagram. It's like this fast paced sort of almost just, outside of wild, but it looks a little wild sometimes because it's real reactions. Like the student doesn't know for sure what angles are coming next. They have to recognize it quick and respond quick.
And so do you always have one person feeding, one person receiving, or does it ever switch in the middle of the dialogue where one starts feeding and the other starts
much
feeding?
later you have basically sparring play.
Okay.
Palakal. And that's where two feeders feed each other.
Back and forth.
Okay. Yeah, but that takes a lot of control.
Yeah.
But it does happen. Through the levels, the basic curriculum, we have 7 levels. 1 through 6 is completion of the art. If you're a level 6, you've completed the art. In those levels, it's always a feeder, always a receiver, just to keep things safe and clean.
Yeah, totally. And this may be a dumb question, but I got to ask, does your system always entail having a stick?
No. Okay. We have knife, we have empty hand stuff.
Okay.
But it's all learned based off the weapon.
Primarily with one weapon at least.
Yeah, that's the other thing. A lot of people ask if we do double stick, and for us at the range that we're in, having 2 sticks would slow us down. We want a free hand to be able to like check, grab, monitor, punch, stab.
Okay.
Sort of the idea is that the stick hand is the primary weapon, your live hand is your secondary, and it works together.
Okay.
Having 2 sticks at that range, that boxing range, it gets a little tied up. It can be done, and we do have ways of implementing double stick, but it's not very often. We focus a lot on the live hand assisting strikes or clearing for strikes.
Yo, Connor, can you pull up one of the Balintawak videos just as a reference? And like for those of you that are listening on the audio version of the podcast right now, what we're taking a look at is just some of those like Instagram clips. Maybe go to the second one. That Bryan was basically talking about. Just click on his account and we'll probably click around to some of them.
There's a bunch.
Yeah, as soon as we click his account, it's all Balintawak.
There's bits from the video we just shot.
Let's go to that one right there. Yeah, click that one right there. So right now what we're taking a look at, for those of you that are on the audio, is him along with one of his students right now. And is this a preset pattern or is this freestyle?
This is freestyle.
Okay.
And as you can see, I'm switching from right to left hand.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
And what is the goal always to end in a disarm, or is the goal to end with a strike, or is it just to have an upper hand?
It depends. As a feeder, I always explain to people who may not understand the formula that sometimes what I'm doing really is like how a coach holds mitts for their boxer.
Yes.
It's about getting the student to move and react to various strikes and head movement and blocking.
So you can drive the patterns if you want to.
Right. So I'm in control.
Yeah.
It's definitely not fighting yet.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
So I'm just feeding them basically and they return. This here is still the same idea. I'm feeding and then Amy's responding.
And now it's pretty cool. So like you went from being a student to working your way up the ranks to now you are actually at the level of instructor. Yeah. And you kind of got like a little group of people here in LA that have kind of like fallen into being your students. You know? You got like a little Balintawak army at JAM, which includes my mom. Yeah. My mom has really taken a passion up for Balintawak. She sends me pictures of her bruises and she was like, I got a stick. I got an official stick now.
Yeah.
But it's cool, man. And so like, how many students do you currently have and at what level are they going through right now?
Curriculum tested, I have 6 completion of the art students and 3 level 3.
How long did it take them to complete everything, or how long were they with you for?
Armand Rabanal has been my longest student. He's been with me, I want to say, 4 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, since 2016.
Okay.
Because I remember coming back from the India gig.
Yes.
Which you were actually the reason for my very first run.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Which we got to talk about.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
we'll talk about it.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I just got back from that.
And that's when you started training.
Yeah, and I was training, and I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I met because he was working the desk.
Yes.
So.
And he's Filipino.
And he came over because we invited him and Kiara for a boxing session, like backyard session.
Yeah.
And we weren't planning on doing anything else, but right at the end, I was like, "Hey, Armand, you want to do some Balintawak? Like,
yes.
it's Filipino. It's your heritage." He was like, "Yeah, sure. Show me some stuff." And he was hooked immediately. He liked how it was structured.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say a full year after that, we maybe trained together several hours every other day.
Wow.
Without fail.
That's awesome.
And so he got really good pretty quick.
Yeah.
And he got his completion last year, 2018. Okay. So it really just depends on the student, you know.
Yeah,
like I never want
totally understandable.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to force anybody to get to a point just for the title or to just test. You know?
And correct me if I'm wrong, though. Some of these tests, you actually have to travel and go out to get certified, right? Under your head instructors and stuff?
Correct. Okay. Yeah. So the way it works is that if you're level 7 or full qualified instructor under Bobby, he allows you to test students of your own, levels 1 through 5.
Okay.
But if it's level 6, you need to test in front of Grandmaster.
Wow.
So anytime anyone wants to get level 6, we have to go to, you know, either the West Coast facility or East Coast facility in Charlotte.
Super cool, man.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. And now you have like your own branch here in LA, known as Balintawak LA. And there's a video that recently came out that we kind of referenced and saw.
Yep.
And so that's your own branch, so to speak, out here.
Yeah. So I'm
awesome.
representing Grandmaster's system.
Okay.
He gave me the blessing to go ahead and start the branch.
Totally.
It's one of those things where obviously you have to be full qualified.
Yes. Yeah.
In order to own your own school.
Totally.
And crazy thing actually, when I tested Armand, I had 2 other students that tested, Joseph Oresti and Nathan People. I brought them out to test, and that's never been done before. Typically, you bring out 1 student to get your level 7. And the idea being you can only become level 7 if you bring up someone through level 1 through 6 on your own.
No way.
So that's how the system is structured to promote good instructorship and leadership and whatnot. So not only did I bring out 1 student, but I brought out 3, and Bobby was like, "Okay, well, I trust you. Let's do this." And they all did great. So after that, you know, it was like another year. I didn't really think about opening a branch after that.
Yeah.
For me, it was more about just continuing to teach and become a better teacher. I always learn a lot when I go back home.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I get to see how I could have taught something better, or how I can, you know, make the next, you know, level 6s, how I can explain things better the second time around, stuff like that. So I was more excited about the growth of being an instructor, and being level 7 is just one of those things for me, because as a kid, you know, I was eventually came around to the idea. I was like, oh, you know, maybe, one day I'll be level 7. Most people stop at level 6 if they don't have an interest really in starting a school or becoming a full-time instructor. But I was highly interested.
Okay.
Just because I love the art so much, and teaching it is a way, obviously, of sharing it.
Yeah.
And learning to teach, you end up becoming a better practitioner in turn.
You have a fuller understanding.
Right, because you have to explain things over and over again to, you know, different types of people, because people will process things differently. You know, no 2 people are the same. So as you sort of dig through and try to explain things to different people, that in turn that makes you be like, oh, that's a good way of explaining it. And then you sort of go back on your own and look at the basics differently.
Yeah, refine your techniques.
Exactly. Yeah. So I wasn't planning on it, but the second go round when I brought in like Andrew and Justin and Amy and all those guys to test, Bobby was like, "Are you gonna be in LA a while?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think so." And he's like, "You should open a branch there because I don't have a branch." And I showed him the logo, and he was like, "Yeah, go for it." And it took about a month to finalize because we were just playing with it. I wanted it to be like, I was stressing, bro. I was like, "Oh, this is the logo, man." Like,
totally, yeah.
I wanted to take my time and think about it. And I finally settled on just my hands doing the basic, positioning. And sent it off, and he loved it. So he's like, "Yeah, you go for it." So.
And for those out there that are interested, what days do you hold classes?
So at JAM, 6 to 9. So it's a night session. So it's 3 hours total.
On Sundays.
On Sundays.
That's
right.
Yeah, Sunday 6 to 9.
And we use the first hour to warm up with basics, level 1 and 2 stuff, and then progresses from there depending on who shows up. But we get maybe 12 to 15 consistently.
Cool. So someone could drop in or hit you up online if they're interested.
Totally. Yeah, just let me know that you're coming, and yeah.
Cool. And if not, come to the workshop, y'all, on next
please.
week, next Thursday on the 26th. Yeah.
26th. Yeah. It goes to a great cause, and it's very personal to me. So
yeah, hell yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm trying to make that an annual thing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I'd like to do that every year.
No, I'm totally down with it, dog. I mean, for as long as I've known you, you've been a part of the Jam family, and besides helping us with Balintawak, for as long as I've known you, I've always tried to utilize you in projects.
Of course, dude, I have so much to thank you for, like the India.
Yeah, and honestly, I have to thank you because the reason you went to India is because I didn't want to go to India.
Yeah. and I got there, I was like, oh.
So full transparency on that. That was actually for a giant movie in India, which is called 2.0. Right?
Yeah, Robot 2.0.
2.0.
I think it's called Entoran.
Yeah.
And
they shortened it. Some online trailers just say 2.0. But at one point it was one of the highest budgeted movies that they shot over in India. It had two of their biggest stars, Akshay Kumar and Rajinikanth.
Yeah.
Who's like the biggest. He's like the Tom Cruise of
India.
He's
been around since I want to say early 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was old.
Yeah, he's super old, but he's still a rock star over there.
They love him.
Crazy. Man. They just keep that hair dyed, and they
Yep.
And so I got contacted actually to go over there and be the lead double for him.
Right.
And I said, "Where's the job? India?" I was like, at the time, I was also like on the verge of another project.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I just can't go that far.
Yep.
Let me stay stateside. But I know someone that's pretty much like close to my measurements.
Right.
So I contacted you.
Yeah.
And we shipped your ass off to India.
Right. That was such a whirlwind too. Because I remember that was probably the brokest I've been in a while,
Yeah.
And I got the call from you. I was like, yes. I didn't really, think about anything else other than give me the work.
It was guaranteed work for like what, couple months or maybe
4.5 months. Wow. So I left in February, came back June.
Wow. Yeah. That's a long time.
Very long time. Yeah. Even for your first run.
That's a long time. Yeah. And the coolest thing was that not only did you get to go over there, but they still had me and Emmanuel Manzanares.
Yep.
We got to shoot a previs for it. You could actually check out that previs on the Jam YouTube page. Yep. It says 2.0 behind the scenes fight. And it was cool because we got to like shoot it at Jam and then send it over to you.
Yep.
And then you got to take a look at it. But that previs was cool. It was for one of the biggest scenes, which is a stadium fight.
Yes. Well, I didn't really understand because we had like scenes from the script sort of given to like the coordinators and stuff. I didn't really see that stuff, but they were explaining it to me, and they're like, "Yeah, it's this fight," and I was like, "Okay, cool." So I was prepping myself to be in costume and stuff to do the fight, and then they were like, "Well, no, it's mocap." I was like, oh, okay.
Because you become a giant robot.
Right, because they didn't explain that the bad guy collects everyone's cell phones from the audience and becomes this big mechanical bird. So I was I was looking at your previs, and I was like, it's dope. I just don't understand what like the boxes are for.
That's a stadium wall.
Yeah, it's a stadium wall.
Like, why are they moving so slow?
What is? Yeah, exactly. So, but then Kenny Bates, the second unit director on it, he finally was like, no, this is how it is. You're a robot, and you grow to be like 10 stories high. And I was like, oh, dude, and that's the finale fight.
Yes, of the whole movie.
So it's pretty crazy. From what little I've seen since, pretty crazy effects.
The CG and VFX went wild.
That's where they put all their money.
100%. 100%. That and the 2 cast members for sure.
Yep.
That's awesome, man.
It was cool because I got to meet Rajinikanth, obviously, and then Akshay was super humble.
Yeah.
Super. And he had all the reason to complain. Didn't complain once. Wow. And he was there's so much makeup on him and stuff because I guess he's like a hybrid human bird.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was pretty crazy, and everything they did to him though looked amazing.
Yeah, it really did.
A lot of detail.
Yeah, it looked cool.
And he was pretty mobile, which I was impressed by.
Wow. Okay.
Like all of our costumes were super mobile, which was a pretty cool thing. I didn't realize it at the time, but they were very open to making sure you were comfortable in your costumes.
That's cool.
Yeah, especially if they were like, oh, what's the action? Like, what do you need? I was like, probably this, and, gooch, and, all this stuff. They even made, like vents in my costume, so it would be more of a cooling feature.
Yeah.
So they would hide little holes of mesh. Okay. So I wouldn't be as hot because one of the costumes was a 3-piece leather suit.
Wow.
In India.
Yeah.
Dude, and I was wearing a prosthetic. With a neck piece.
No way.
Every time I could, I just ripped that shit off. Fucking buckets of water coming out the neck piece. Yeah. I was dying, dude. That was crazy heat.
Crazy. But it's cool to hear that they made adjustments like that because obviously, you hear stories that it's a little different out there compared to here in America for obvious reasons, but like it's cool to hear the positive notes like that too.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. What was the biggest culture shock from going over there? Anything that stood out in your mind, or was it like a really cool experience,
I think I would have enjoyed it more if I wasn't stuck in like a hotel and stuck on set.
Working all the time.
Yeah, working.
Yeah.
Because outside of that, I didn't really see a whole lot. We did go see the Taj Mahal.
Okay.
Like, we had 2 weeks off, and then Kenny was like, let's go see the Taj Mahal. I was like, oh, okay. 3-hour drive.
Oh, yeah. Brutal.
And then, but the Taj Mahal is cool, man. Like, I can check that off my list,
Yeah.
Tell grandkids about it.
That's super funny, man.
But yeah, I think in general it was all very shocking because brand new to the biz, and it was my first huge anything. And up to that point, I had just been working with Manny, and doing some prep here and there,
totally
on smaller stuff. But hats off to Manny and Vlad because they prepped me well, as a screen fighter.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, it's super crazy that was your first like big run, and now
super scared. I almost got like held at immigration. Like I didn't know how any of that worked, man. I've never been out of the country.
Yeah.
On my own, nonetheless.
That's wild, man. Well, at least you survived, and we got the stories to tell. It's
exactly,
so funny, man. And we've had the opportunity to work on a bunch of things over the years.
Yep.
I remember we worked together on Chris Brown video.
Yeah.
Fine by Me, which is a pretty cool video where you got like a featured part.
Yeah, that was dope. I grew up with Chris Brown's music. Yeah. And just, getting to see how he works was pretty cool. And
that was a unique one, man.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Remember that one when we came in at 12 p.m. for our call time and we didn't start shooting till midnight.
Yep.
Which was crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think for you guys in total, it was almost 20 hours one day, right?
Yeah.
Because I left once my stuff was done. It's been like 16 hours or something.
We wrapped you. And what was crazy was we had a hard out at 7 because me and Guy and Jimmy had a 9 a.m. call time for another movie we were doing at Digital Domain that same day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, we got destroyed, dog. When you guys all wrapped, we literally were zombies, got in the car, somehow drove rush hour traffic to Marina Del Rey, did a full day of mocap, coordinating FSB, which is FSB 3D, which they renamed, but that was with the guys at Blur Studios who did Deadpool. So Yeah, it was a horrible
dude.
day.
Yeah.
It was a horrible day. Yeah.
It's a long day.
We were zombies, man. That's crazy. So at this point, though, like after the India movie and stuff, kind of mentioned it. Up to that point, you mostly just delved into like the independent film world, and you were doing fights with Emmanuel Manzanares, Vlad Remberg, and stuff like that. But you also have always kind of shot your own stuff.
Yeah.
Has that been inspired by those guys, or at the same time, like I know that you actually like pursued film at a school level, right? Like,
yeah, I did 1 year film school back in my home state.
okay,
And I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed meeting people, but I realized that with filmmaking, it really is a trade.
yeah,
You know, it's like, yeah, sure, you can get a degree in it and you understand some logistical stuff, but when it comes to the art, you just got to throw yourself out there.
100%.
And I didn't want to waste 3 more years just, doing nothing in my small hometown.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just jump into it, So I think I was 20 when I moved out to LA.
Okay.
And I had just $500 in my pocket.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And just the idea of just trying to get into the industry.
Yeah, just anywhere you could. I don't even think, like, of course, I had, like, my dream is, like, do action, like, the stuff I've been watching. And I had actually been watching Vlad stuff and Manny stuff since, I want to say, 2010, 2009.
Wow. Yeah, totally.
10. So I was in the later part of high school watching their stuff, and what I found very unique about it was they were just dudes in their backyards doing stuff. So like seeing that episode with you and Vlad, with all your old school footage and stuff, I was like, yes, that's what inspired me
Totally.
to in part go out to LA and just jump into it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, because again, like from where I was from, it's a small town. Not a lot of martial artists.
Yeah,
On top of that, not a lot of filmmakers.
Yeah,
Totally. The filmmakers we got were sort of influx due to the school.
Yeah.
But everyone would eventually leave. And that's what you just need to do if you wanted to do bigger things.
Crazy.
So like I had like 1 or 2 friends we did some fights, and I believe I have those fights. They're just on my old laptop back at home, but I did shoot some stuff back in Winston.
Yeah, before.
Yeah, and I remember my buddy Sean was helping me out. I had a friend of mine from the school, Jack.
Okay.
And they helped me out with my first couple of fights, and we didn't know what we were doing. We were just like, oh, let's copy Manny and Vlad,
Totally.
So yeah, a lot of people would say, yeah, I was inspired by Jackie Chan to get into screen fighting, yada yada yada. To be honest, it was Manny and Vlad.
That's awesome.
Like the movies were cool and stuff, and I appreciated Jackie Chan and stuff, but it was more tangible in a sense to me.
What they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, they're doing it.
Yeah, themselves.
Yeah, and it's unique because they're doing it their way.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that genuity, because they were constantly trying new things. And at the time, I didn't understand it all, but I could see that they were constantly practicing.
Yeah.
Not just
100%.
going out there and shooting something,
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So how did you link up with them officially? Do you remember what the first video was you worked on with them, or how you got connected?
Yeah, I remember the first one with Manny. So sort of the backtrack leading up to that, I moved to Los Angeles, tried to just make a living. Like I did like odd jobs for maybe a year and a half.
Totally.
Just trying to settle in, pay rent and all that good stuff. And eventually it got to a point where I was like, you know what? Let me just reach out to them, because I was kind of nervous about reaching out to them. And
totally.
I wanted to be better, have something to offer before meeting them, stuff like that.
Of course. No, totally. I get it.
But, I was like, you know what? I just got to reach out to them, and see if they're willing to train with me. So I did the whole martial artist thing where you go to them, respectfully and ask to be trained. That's how I sort of viewed it. And I remember reaching out to Sean Bernal, part of LBP Stunts Chicago. Mm-hmm. I remember writing to him. I was like, hello, a huge fan of you and the team. Would love to train with you guys, but I know that you guys are located in Chicago, but I am willing to move out from LA to Chicago for a short bit just to learn from you guys.
Yeah.
And Sean was like, no need to do that. Manny just moved out to Los Angeles.
No way.
I was like, oh, word?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. So we're we just submitted Dogfight.
Yeah.
In the Action on Film Festival.
Crazy.
So he's like, well, how about this? How about we meet at that festival?
Okay.
And we'll talk, and I'll, put your name in to Manny. So I was super excited and nervous, but I saved the date, and sure enough, somehow got my ass out there because I didn't have a car. Yeah. I didn't have a car for the longest time. I got a car finally getting back from the India gig.
Yeah.
But to that point, I was like, yeah, just bumming rides, taking the bus. It would take 45 minutes for me to get from NoHo to Jam. Yeah. And I'd save $7 a week for the entry fee to train at Jam.
No crap.
Yeah. So we meet up. Sean was super cool. Manny was like quiet and kind of to himself, Mr. Manny. And I was like, I made a horrible impression on Manny. He's not talking to me, So I hung out, talked with Sean mostly. And then a month later, I get this Facebook message, and it's a group message. And it's full of different people, and I don't remember who was a part of it, but Manny puts in availability for these dates. I was like, free, immediately, I was like, ooh, totally. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'll just run in, fall down, I don't care. And then slowly over the course of a week, he would kick people out the group. Make the group smaller. It's like bing, bing, bing. And then it boiled down to 3 names, I think, including me. And then I got a separate message via text. Okay. It's like, are you still free those dates? I said, yes, sir. It's like, cool. This kid, Jerry Quill, is going to fight you, and we'll do a fight practice. I was like, dope. And I knew who Jerry Quill was because I had started seeing him goon for Vlad.
Totally. In videos. He started popping up a lot,
Yeah, and I knew he was like, he trained with Brendan sometimes, Jimmy Choo. Yep. So in my head, Jerry was already like, oh, Jerry's super good. Yeah, he's in there. Oh, no, dude, he's OG. So we show up. Jerry ended up driving both me and Manny, so they picked me up. And we have like some small talk in the car, and then Manny buckles down to business. He's like, so how much have you done? I was like, I've done this and that, and I didn't really know like how to answer
what to say.
Yeah. He's like, okay, do you rec good? And I didn't know what that meant. I was like, yeah. I guess. I think so, yeah. It turns out I didn't rec good. Yeah. But so he was like feeling me out, and he was nice about it. But threw us into the fight immediately, and he never told us how the day was gonna run. Yeah. And I never thought to ask a question, but we went maybe 6 to 7 straight hours, and I didn't bring anything to eat. And I'm a high energy. I got fast metabolism. Totally. After the first, I want to say 2.5, 3 hours, I was gassed. Yeah. And we maybe had 3 or 4 more hours.
Yeah. People that aren't used to those indie shoots get destroyed the first time they shoot.
It was horrible. Yeah. I just couldn't move, and I just felt useless. And he was challenging me. He was like, okay, now you're gonna throw yourself into this tree. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, man, that's how it is, And the very first rec that I did for Manny was a flat back, right? And for whatever reason, so the way Manny works a lot of times is in his head, he'll get to a moment, but he doesn't have the moment choreographed.
Totally. He just knows there's something that's
exactly. It's like something big here. Yeah. So he gets to that moment, and this was all new to me, this unrehearsed stuff, and choreograph it on the day, walk it, shoot it. Very new to me. And so he gets to this moment where I think it's like Jerry like elbows me in the neck, and I go down, and he's like, okay, yeah, so you're going to fall to your back and whatnot. And I was like, cool. And he's like, all right, 3, 2, 1, action, and I do it. And he looks up, and he's like, are you going to fall? Are you going to fall? I was like, oh, I did, sir. Yeah. He's like, no, you didn't. I was like, oh, okay, so we go again. And he looks up again, and he's like, come look at this. And that's how you know it's bad. Yeah. Because typically they won't show you.
Yeah, he's just showing you so you can see.
But he calls me over, I look, and I'm like, I sort of like half sit down, put my hand down, all the bad stuff to not do. He's like, don't do that. Just go to your back, like immediately, as hard as you can. I was like, okay, yes, sir. Did it a third time. Didn't do it. Bitched out. And he looks at Jerry. He's like, and then walks off. Yeah. Jerry knows what's up.
Yeah, Jerry knows
he's been with
what's
Vlad
up.
for a couple of shoots. He's like, okay, action. Boom. I feel this sharp pain in my collarbone. Jerry just takes me.
Yeah.
Boom, for me. Like, I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's the take you see in the fight.
He just popped you.
Just boom. Right there.
Damn.
I quickly learned to do it myself.
Yeah.
Because that hurt more than the ground.
Yeah, 100%.
Jerry has sharp elbows, man.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. So I sort of realized that the formula that Manny and Vlad used and still are using is very much the Jackie Chan Hong Kong way, you know? And I like that formula because it's very solid, not just how to create the action on the spot, but knowing the camera and the edits, you know, after that.
Yeah, totally.
It teaches you a lot about just being on the fly, which comes in handy on set, as you know.
100%.
Right?
Yeah,
so not being married to choreography, being able to work with your performers on the fly, be like, it's not working, or the camera setup completely changing, and just being able to adapt to that. It's like, okay, we'll just do this, or we'll take this out, or, you know, all that stuff.
Yep.
So that's how I started doing my own stuff. When I had been doing, I want to say maybe 10 fights performing for Manny. Just some of them were actor demos, actually, back when Manny would do stuff for actresses or actors.
Making that money.
Yeah, exactly. Like trying to do some stuff. He eventually I was interested in shooting. I wanted to be a good performer. I think it was a year after that fight. I was like, so Manny, like, if I wanted to shoot something, how do I do that?
Yeah.
He's like, you have a camera? I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, is Jerry down? I was like, yeah. And he's like, all right, we'll find one more person and just shoot something. I was like, right, but
how?
But how?
Yeah.
He was like, press record and then yell cut and press record again.
Yeah.
That's when I realized it's like, oh, he just wants me to go out and try something, anything.
Yeah.
So I go out and I shoot my first fight with Amy Sturdevant and Janelle Beaudry.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
totally. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That's a long time ago.
Long time ago. And I have my, I was using Final Cut 7 at the time.
Totally.
And edited on that and sent it off to Manny. I was like, what do you think? He's like, nice. Then he started...
Because you put in the time.
Right.
100%.
He started telling me stuff. And little by little, each fight I would send his way, or before I would go out and shoot, I'd be like, okay, so I'm looking for this. Like, what would you advise? And sometimes he'd be like, just try it first, and then I'll talk to you. Right?
Yeah.
Or he'd be like, make sure this happens. Just that one thing. Don't worry about anything else. And so I quickly started seeing the bigger picture, right? Because as a performer in front of the camera, you're worried about playing the camera and you're acting. Yeah. That's it, right? And being behind camera slowly opened up my eyes to being a good performer again.
100%.
You know, so it went back and forth for me. And then on top of that, editing, I started realizing that this would be more cinematic if I did more cuts, right? Yeah. So a lot of people, I feel like, point and shoot. Because cuts, you're able to compress or expand time. Yeah. With a lot of people, I don't think realize that's what it's for, right? They want everything in one frame, but then you're relying on your performers to give you everything in real time. Totally. Unless you're prepared for it.
100%. Yeah.
So it's kind of like how the first Jason Bourne action design sort of got misconstrued, where it was like kind of like shaky, but because they really wanted you to listen to the sound effects more than see the visuals. And they would try to highlight impacts with the camera. And a lot of people took that and were like, okay, well, action is supposed to be shaky all the time.
Shaky camera.
You know?
It's not about the camera.
Right, exactly.
100%. Going handheld's not a new thing by any means.
No, not at all. There's nothing out there that hasn't been done. I think that, too, a lot of people forget.
Yeah,
It's like you're not inventing anything new.
No.
So what makes it seem new or unique? Well, it's because no one's gonna do it the way you do it.
Yeah.
You are you. So after I sort of made that discovery, I started implementing more of my Kali background.
Yeah.
Right. I had put Balintawak aside for a while, not because I was like trying to bounce back and forth or anything. It was just I didn't feel like at the time I was like trying to find people to train with, but I had to teach it to them first before I could start training. Right.
Totally.
And it's just by no means anyone not committing or anything. It's just life gets in the way, or they go train something else, or you get busy, or they start working. Exactly. Right. So nothing really stuck student wise. So I was kind of like, screw it. Let me just get better at my filmmaking.
Yeah.
So I spent like a year or two just training on my own, but really delving into the shooting action and performing and stuff. And eventually that all led to Queen, which was kind of my first action short.
Yeah, totally.
Super bad, but that was my first stab at group choreo.
Yeah.
And I had told myself not to do group choreo until I was happy with a one-on-one fight. I don't remember what fight that was right before Queen, but I remember being like, okay, so it's the same concept, just more people.
Yeah.
Right?
More coverage, more people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because
totally.
again, I understood cut points a little better.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, so I had a sneaking suspicion that would help with doing multiple people fighting.
Yeah.
Right? So once I understood how to do it with two bodies in a frame, I started implementing 1-2 extra. Right? And with Queen, I added another layer, finally, story.
Yeah.
Not to say that choreography by itself doesn't have story. That was something that I was kind of like hesitant to try, because I do believe those two layers are present in action design specifically.
Yeah, totally.
It's like the choreography can tell a story, but layered over that, what is the scene, the story of the scene?
Yeah.
And then later on for movies, it's like, well, what's the overall movie about?
Totally, yeah. Because overall, that story leads into characterization of like what the character is doing, why they're fighting that way, their intention, how the fight should win. Yeah. And a lot of times tells like why there's even a conflict in the first place.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times you'll just see a vignette fight. It may just be two guys fighting,
Mm-hmm.
but like. And you really want to get to the root of scene, you need a story to dictate what the relationship is between those two characters,
right,
and why there's a driving conflict between the two.
And a conflict that escalated into physical violence.
Yes.
Like, not a lot of people have that
Yeah.
in the back of their head. It's like, well, they're trying to hurt each other physically.
Yeah, yeah.
That conflict must have been pretty intense.
Totally.
You
And
know,
the way
it's like,
that a fight ends or should be dictated by story is totally different feels, you
Yeah.
know? Like, if someone's fighting you and you're fighting for your life, you may just hit them out of desperation with things to knock them out.
Right.
Whereas if you're like, you know, someone killed your brother and you're in a fight with him, you may want to savor the kill and choke this guy out.
Right.
And feel the strength, you know, feel yourself strangling him as opposed to a quick kill. So.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
No, the purpose behind learning how to scope choreography is so you use it as a tool to enhance the idea of the character.
100%.
You know, so going back to Queen, I wanted more background to the characters.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
it.
Just setting the stage.
Yeah, you know, it didn't have to be specific, and I think that's what a lot of people have problems with when they watch my stuff. Like, not everything's explained. You know, part of that was because during that transition or that phase where I was learning how I wanted to say stuff, is because I didn't know how to say a lot of stuff. Yeah. So I would just be like, well, let's create this quick world, and the characters are this in this world, and then the conflict, we'll figure that out. I slowly started implementing components picked up from film school that I really liked. So I remember really liking Christopher Nolan, mm-hmm. Terrence Malick, mm-hmm. And several other directors. And what I liked about Terrence Malick was he was very slow mm-hmm. with his visuals. And they were very open and expansive. Yep. And he'd let the characters just roam. You know, like they had like a goal or an end point in the scene, but the camera would just sort of float and follow, you know. And I like that because that forced me to watch the frame very carefully, because if I didn't, I wouldn't understand the next frame or the next setup or the next scene, you know? So I was like, what if I applied that to action? So that's why a lot of my stuff's really slow, and I'll make the frame interesting in the sense that the characters are doing something that's out of the ordinary or abnormal. So for Arthur, the opening shot looks like two dudes hugging, and it's Jay walking Yoshi to the bench, but you don't know why that is till later. And then I love montage stuff, in part because I like how Vlad montages, but I started doing that more with trying to pick up character mannerisms without blatantly explaining why the character's acting a certain way. And that in part is from watching Terrence Malick films. So that influence, and then of course I really love Christopher Nolan, how clean he is. He's the opposite of Terrence Malick. He's very precise. This is how it is, and I'm going to explain it to you. And he's a screenwriter, right? Not a lot of directors write their own stuff, but I feel like Christopher Nolan and his brother, they write like they wrote Inception. It took 10 years for them to right. So they wrote it together, and they finally brought it to life. So like right from the get-go, their stuff is clean because they spent time really thinking out the details.
Developing it all.
And the thing about Christopher Nolan films is that he loves having an object tie a story together. Just like a mundane object or person or thing or memory. And so in part, again, you'll notice that I have a lot of objects with attachments to it in my stuff. So like petals, flower.
Yeah, totally.
There was an old series I tried doing, we never finished, The Complete Student, where the object was a dice queen, chess piece.
Yeah, totally.
The magician card.
You
know, so I really love that idea, and I implement that in my action, you know. So it's like me enjoying components from other artists, directors, and whatnot, and then taking it and trying to figure out how I want to use it.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and I remember there was a phase 2 where I would copy Manny's style, I would copy Vlad's style, not to plagiarize, but to learn from it, because I saw things in both their styles I really enjoyed, and they used the same formula,
100%.
Right? But why was this so different? So I had to see for myself. So I started shooting Manny style fights or Vlad style fights. And once I kind of figured out, like, okay, I think Vlad focuses on this, like the power, you know, wider frames, and Manny likes focusing on just the organic, visceral, like this is happening in real time.
And Manny's a magician with certain cheats and shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. I still don't.
And also snap zoom.
Yeah,
crash
zoom. Yeah, Spider Mexican zoom.
Manny got the crash zooms on Lizard.
Yeah.
And Vlad got the Dutch sun lock with the ambient stuff in the foreground. And
I loved it.
Yeah, they got their own style. But it's cool because, like we said, the most important thing that we've reiterated on a bunch of these podcasts is the most important thing is that you just got to get out there and do it yourself. Because, like you said, it's a trade. It's a craft where, like, you're only going to pick it up by continuing to do it, you know? And over time, what's crazy is, like, I wanted people to hear this, which is you came out here to meet Manny just to start shooting stuff like these guys, you know? In this quick amount of time, you've gotten to the point where you've established yourself shooting your own stuff. And there's a couple of these that have, you know, you've had 2 videos get in the millions of views at this point, right? So, like, Connor, on that list right there, let's pull up, like, let's take a look and see. So at the bottom, what... I think those last 2, right, have the most. Like Night Watch. Night Watch has how many views?
I don't know why, but yeah, Night Watch has
2.3 million views.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because we shot this while I was fight coordinating Boss Level in Atlanta, and I had some free nights. I had, like, I guess 3 nights in a row or something. I don't remember, actually.
Totally.
But, yeah, so I called these guys out. I was like, hey, I have this semi weird idea in an elevator fight, and would you want to try it out? And they were down.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Dominic Smith did camera for me. I think this was on the GH4. So it was sort of an opportunity for me to play with the GH4 as well.
Totally. But again, just like a shoot, like you said, you were actually on location for another film.
Yeah.
Just on your free time, decide to shoot this for fun.
Yeah, I was getting, because you know how it is, like, work is work. And I enjoy work, and I enjoy the experience of work, but there's this need to, shoot this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
to just keep your brain busy, because I try to tell people this all the time. The blessing of being on a real job is that you're working, but the curse is that you're doing other people's work.
Yeah.
It's dictated to you.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but
Nothing
it's hard for me because I have a head full of stuff that I want to do,
Yeah.
That's all.
We just have to exist and create choreography within the world that's been given to us.
Exactly.
And within the characterization that's been given to us and all that.
Which is good practice in a sense.
It's great practice. But like you said, sometimes you have to satisfy that need. So this is when you shot on your own. And what's the other one that's got a couple million views? Is that Redemption? Is that got a million
so Redemption
views?
was actually an idea that Amy Sturdevant directed.
Okay.
She had this idea. It's like, I picture like an angel and a demon fighting over this guy. And I was like, I really love that. Because I'm super into like Bible stories and like mythology and all that epic stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. And so she sort of wrote the concept out, had the story already, and this was actually after India as well, I think.
Wow. Yeah. This is a few years
summer.
back. Yeah, this is a few years back. But this one has 1.4, almost 1.5 million views itself.
It's crazy. Like,
yeah.
You never think that so many people would want to watch it.
Just something that you created for fun.
Yeah,
But that's also speaks to why it's important to take effort, take time, and put out stuff that you're very happy with. Because if you're not happy with it, man, 1.5 million people would see it. So it's like,
exactly.
If you guys are going to shoot stuff on your own, make sure that you take the time to go out there, and there's nothing wrong with going out and reshooting stuff or fixing things here.
Exactly.
And there,
It's just something that you and Vlad were talking about, actually, right?
Yes.
Is if it's your own thing and it's a passion project, take your time with it. Really try to meet out. Not everything has to be planned.
Yes.
But have a plan at least, And
Totally.
if it doesn't work, that's when you have to be able to think on the fly on the day, or just know that, okay, let's just end it here and then come back another time.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people feel rushed to put stuff out.
Yeah, totally.
Like they put themselves on a schedule, and it's kind of like, oh, well, it's your personal thing, and sure, maybe like you only have one of your friends for 2 days, or maybe the park is closed on Sunday, and you didn't know about that.
Totally.
Like stuff happens, but what I'm saying is, as long as you have a concept and you just stick to that concept, like everything's gonna be fine.
Totally.
Quite often, what I have in my head and I go shoot it, it never ends up what's in my head.
Yeah, I agree. Something always changes, and you have to adapt because of location or choreo or angles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally. Or lack of equipment.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It could even be something as simple as like wardrobe tearing or something happens, and you have to adjust to tell that story point.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, here's a prime example. I was on a full-on feature film, and I'm not going to say which one it was yet, but I was on a full-on feature film. We were 3 moves away from the ending of the entire fight. My lead actor, who is a huge actor, tore his ACL. And we still had 3 moves left in the fight and 1 more day of principal photography with him, where he then finishes that fight and is in a chase scene.
Oh.
He tore his ACL. So literally on the fly on a huge multi-million-dollar show, we're looking around and we're like, we have to change the choreo now.
Yeah.
We have to somehow stand him up and have this character break his knee in a shot. So we had to get an insert of a knee break, which then created the reason why he's limping instead of running away in the chase.
Oh, wow.
So we literally had to cater.
Infected the next scene.
Which is supposed to be a chase scene, where we literally had a guy from Tempest coming to do parkour. We're like, watch this video and match his limp.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But that you gotta do it in filmmaking of all levels.
Yeah, prime example. It doesn't matter if it's indie, Hollywood, and whatever. You're gonna run into problems. And you gotta learn how to roll with them.
Yeah, and how to adapt. And still keep the integrity of the project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, you have a concept, commit to it all the way. Just make it work.
That's crazy, man. And so for someone out there that's brand new and is getting started in shooting, I mean, you kind of delved into it, which is you basically reached out to these guys and then on your own just started shooting things. Is there any advice that you would give to someone that's in the same position, maybe just moved out to Los Angeles or is living back in a smaller town thinking about pursuing stunts right now?
Everyone's path is different, but I guarantee you, if it's something that you can't stop thinking about, it probably means you need to pursue it a little more seriously. So for me, again, martial culture. If you want to go train with the best swordsman in the world, and you really want that as a martial artist, you would probably travel to that dojo.
Totally.
And ask for, I'll clean the dojo, give me lessons I really want to learn. That's how I treated what I did moving out to LA, finding Manny and then finding Vlad.
Totally. Yeah,
I was like, I think these guys are the best at what they do, and I'm going to go to them, and then I'm going to offer whatever they want in trade for it. You know, if I don't have money, I'll offer something like maybe Balintawak. I don't know. I was like, what can I give them? I'm broke, you know? But they're very kind and gracious people, right? So all they really asked for was just commitment, discipline, hard work. And I was like, yes, sir. You know, I would go 150%.
Yeah.
I still do. If Vlad calls me, he's like, hey, I have this crazy idea. Do you want to come out for it? I'm like, yes. You know, because I already know that, you know, everything's like, as crazy as the concept is, I know that they are going to commit to that concept.
Totally. And you're going to get some cool footage.
Exactly.
It'll be cool. Yeah.
And the experience is going to be worth it.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're starting out and you're not sure, you know, make sure that once you're in it, you stay in it.
Yes.
You know, I feel like a lot of people try and then they get scared by whatever it is. Like, life is hard. You know, I agree. Like, life is very hard, but you can't let that intimidate you. Life's going to be hard regardless.
Totally.
You know, in whatever you choose, not just the entertainment industry, you know. Yeah. So, like, why not? Why not just go all out and chase it? Just be brave and honest. I think some of the most successful people we see in this world were honest.
Totally.
You know, they were upfront. They were honest with themselves, first off, and honest with other people. If you have questions about something, I know a lot of times, this is why me and Jay Kwan are close. If something comes up and I'm like, hey man, I just want to throw this out there, he'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm glad you threw that out there. Now we can talk about it. That's going to help business so much.
Yeah,
like, when money gets involved, working with Frank Torres on Boss Level, he was the stunt coordinator, and I was fight coordinating. There was a lot of things where I was like, oh, that's a tough question to bring up, but I'm going to do it. Why? Because I don't want any shit in the air between us, you know, especially when there's money involved, people's lives, contracts. Like, just be honest up front, be genuine, you know, and then just work hard and things will come. And don't work hard to stay busy, work hard to make a difference.
100%.
You know, I feel like a lot of people work hard to stay busy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, look at what I've done this year and compared to last year. I've only shot maybe 2 indie things, but I took my time with those because each one gets a little bigger. I'm looking for you know, more specifics. It's not about the busy work to me. It's not about cranking out 20 fights a year or something. I don't want to. I always shoot with when it comes to my independent stuff. I always shoot when my heart is like, this is what I want to say. That's when I shoot. You know, if it's a fight practice and stuff, that's a little different. You know, that's more technical practice, logistical practice. Now that I'm shooting more story-based concepts and action shorts, for me, it's like, well, I have this inside of me, and I need to let it out.
Yeah.
It's like writing in a journal. You know, just putting my thoughts out there.
Yeah.
And that's me. I think that's what people recognize.
Hell
you know? So just be genuine. Be yourself. Be honest with everything. That's going to get you through a lot, especially when you have questions, because the world's going to feel like it's going to cave in on you. No one goes through this life without suffering.
Yeah, man.
So you might as well just be already accepting that and continue forward.
Hell yeah.
You know? So a lot of people, I think, stress out about the future. It's like, well, the future is now, to be honest. You know, don't worry about the past. Be here, and that will lead you to a future.
Yeah.
You know, have goals and plans and dreams and stuff you want to achieve. Just don't worry so much. People worry. so much, you know?
Hell yeah. That's cool, man. I usually ask people, I usually ended up by asking about the future, but you pretty much just touched on the future right
Yeah.
in an overall, like, all-encompassing answer, not even specific to yourself, man. But it's really cool, man. Like, for me personally, I've seen your growth when you first moved out here to LA to working together on, like, crazy non-union jobs that I brought you guys on back.
They were
a
lot of fun, though.
They were fun, yeah. We've done a lot of non-union jobs together, to watching your indies and shorts, to seeing the success, and then obviously seeing your career now to where, like, you're working on full-on Hollywood features and films. You just finished working on Birds of Prey, which is coming out. And yeah, man, it's really cool. Is there anything else in the immediate future that people should be on the radar looking out for that you've been in, like in Hollywood-wise, is coming out, or anything on your own personal scope?
What have I worked on? This year, I've been taking more personal time, actually, partially because the school and stuff and training, and I guess be on the lookout for possible Arthur 2.
Okay, cool.
So we've been trying to develop a longer script, maybe 20 pages, sort of based on the first Arthur.
Okay.
A little more detail, some names added to it, so... trying to get a cast together, script together, but it's super early stages, so I don't think we'd start shooting it till like summer of next year.
Okay.
But that's definitely in the works, and then of course, stuff going on now with the new school out and whatnot.
Hell yeah.
Trying to do more seminars and guest instructor stuff around the city.
Hell yeah, man.
So keep an eye out.
And again, guys, most importantly, if you guys want to come down and meet Bryan and also learn a little bit about Balintawak, the best time is next Thursday, September 26th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We got a workshop that's benefiting an incredible charity. It's $50 to sign up. Mm-hmm. You can bring your own Eskrima stick, and if not, they'll have them there for sale for $15. Yeah. But, hopefully we'll see a bunch of you guys out there that are listening to this podcast come on through and learn some knowledge and embark on a martial arts journey. So, hell yeah, man. So real quick before we get out of here, man, just swinging that mic in front of you, looking at the camera, let people know where they can follow you online and where your shorts and stuff are coming out at.
So you can find me on Instagram at Sloyer Stunts, and also YouTube under the same name, Sloyer Stunts.
Perfect, man. Well, we'll definitely be on the lookout for that. And for all of you out there that haven't checked out some of his previous work, go over to the channel. There's some really cool content. So with that being said, guys, please be sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for Jam Breakdowns and every Friday for brand new JAMCast interviewing influential members of the movement community like Mr. Bryan Sloyer himself. With that being said, guys, I got to give a special shout out, as always, to Mr. Connor Simon for running Switch Rap, who just got back from Iceland. Got to give a special shout out to our guest this week, Mr. Bryan Sloyer.
Well, thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, brother. Yeah. And as always, guys, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. Until next time, we'll see you all soon. Peace.